I'm hoping this is going to be a fairly quick video, not too long. This is something I've been thinking about for a while and wanted to get back to making some ATC cards. ATC stands for Artist Trading Cards. It was a conceptual art project started by a Swiss artist, M. Vancy Sternemann, in 1997. He wanted it to be a collaborative cultural experience. So in 96, he started making these cards. In 97, I think he had a bookstore in Switzerland that he had a show in. He had like over 2,000 cards that he'd made in this show. And at the end of the show, there was just a big trading session. So artists from all different backgrounds are encouraged to participate in this. All techniques are allowed, any kind of painting, collaging, even metal pieces and wax. And the stipulation is that they should be the size of a regular trading card, like a baseball trading card, which playing cards are the right size. 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches was the prescribed size by Sternemann. And the artwork is done on one side, and then they're typically signed and dated on the back. And there are trading sessions that still happen now all over the world. And it's just a neat way for artists to get together and for people to collect other artists' art in a really affordable way. And you have these little moments that are original. They're not printed. They're not, I guess if all techniques are allowed, printing could be one. Typically, I think they're all original pieces. Anyway, these are some that I had started before, never really finished. I created some, these are playing cards, and I feel like there needs to be something else going on these to distinguish a front from a back. You know, maybe a drawing or a little painting or something on one side, and then a sign the other side. So, like I said, I did these about 2 or 3 years ago. I haven't worked on trading cards for a while. I have kind of a different idea here. I have taken 8 playing cards. I've taped them out. You'll notice the way I tape them out is masking the number that the card is and the suit indication where the number is, or the J for Jack or the Joker. So when I'm done and I unmask this, the border will be of the card. That'll still show. These are plastic coated cards, so I've taken some sandpaper and roughed them up a little bit to give them a little bit of a tooth. And I'm going to open up my Novacolor 200 gesso. Maybe. Should have done that before I started the video. There we go. And I'm just going to put a really light coat of gesso over the top of these, also creating a tooth to be able to paint on, glue to, draw on, whatever. This should go fairly quickly because, as you can see, my canvases are quite small. And then we'll see how this turns out with the little border. Anyways, an idea that I had. I'm not gonna, these I did, the whole card, and these are collage cards. So maybe they don't need a drawing or anything on them. They just need to be signed. These are going to be collage as well, but I want to do some mark making in there and make it actually a kind of a drawing. I want to get the lid on here really well. Not as well as it was before, but there we go. I just walked around the studio before I got this taped down and just grabbed stuff from everywhere. So I've got magazine pages. I've got the manipulated National Geographic's page. We'll talk about that at some point. There's a roll-off pages from monoprinting. There's some tissue paper. There's some paper I made. There's some deli sheet, which is also a roll-off paper. There's a couple of magazine pages, some waxy paper. There's some pages from a museum book, some map pieces. These are some, you've seen these real recently. These are shopping bag that I ran through the embosser. There's that paper that I really, really love. There's some other handmade tissue papers. These were in a museum book. I cut out, a while back, I cut out a few images of those. I don't know if that's what I want for this, but they were little and I grabbed them. And so I am just gonna start with I'm gonna use the matte medium. And I'm just gonna start laying some stuff down and we'll see what happens as I create some collages. Now that had some paint in it that the matte medium moved around. That's okay, that's cool. I'm gonna work this sort of as a series. So I don't have to put this element in every single one, but repeating some things is fine, I think. That really moved that blue paint too. I wonder what's on there. Huh. I'm gonna clean that brush because that's okay, but maybe not necessarily what I want there. I'm gonna bring some of this paper in. Hopefully not so blue brush there. So I really love the idea of trading or just giving away little pieces of I did a lot of that during quarantine when we couldn't work and we were home. I got stuff out at home and just started making little artworks and sending them off to people. Some of it was solicited. I had made a post on social media and said, hey, let's exchange artwork if you want to, and then some of it I just sent to people whose addresses I had. They didn't ask for it, and anyway, it was a really nice thing. It was a really nice way to share what I was doing, and it was a fun way to reach out. I think it's a cool way to share your work in a very analog way, and I don't know, I feel like we're missing some of that in the 21st century. It's also not expensive to mail these things to people, and you know, someone gets a little surprise in their mailbox. I think that's nice. All right, just a couple more collage elements, I think, and then I don't want these to be total collages. I'm gonna do some drawing. pull out this giant amount of stuff and then don't really use all of it. So I'll tell you about this. This is these are pages from National Geographic. If you spray citrusol or a citrus, you have to be really careful when you lay these down because that ink really moves. The ink in the National Geographics will get real loose with citrus cleaner. You can even buy like a cheap citrus cleaner at like the dollar store. Spray it on the magazine pages and then just leave it, and the ink, I mean, this was a picture, and the ink just moves around and becomes really interesting. I should have sprayed this with hairspray before I started to put the medium on it because it kind of moves it. I'm gonna say, hold on, let's do one thing right here. And then I am going to be done with the collage parts. All right. Put that matte medium away. I'm gonna go ahead and take let's just get a small piece of scrap piece of paper here and see if I can lift any extra medium to sort of speed the drying here. Now, if I lift up any images or color of paper, that's fine too. That all just is part of what happens here. All right, everything seems pretty secure. Excellent. Now, I am not going to be able to draw with any kind of success with a pencil on there if it goes that wet. However, I think I could make some marks with this Caran d'Ache watercolor crayon. I'm correct about that. And if I get a little water on a brush, and even sort of manipulate that a little bit more. There we go. All right. I kind of like that. Let's bring some purple in there. And then, oh, really, that's really wet. We're moving that a little too much. There we go. I'm using my left hand. Which is not my dominant hand. That's really wet. Now remember, oops. This is a series, and repeating is going to be okay because these are not. This isn't a whole piece, right? Let's get the yellow one. Can we make any kind of impact with yellow? I don't think so. All right, go back to black. So these are some really very simple really more mark making than drawing. No, I mean it's drawing, but it's not drawing a picture, right? It's not what most people want to see. These are my art crayons, and I'm gonna bring them in. Bring the yellow one in just in a couple of places here. Now, on not all of them, but some of those card elements are still showing through. I like that. I'm going to take a pencil with no expectation that it'll make a mark, but it'll push some of this other stuff around. We can make marks that way. I got rid of some paper there, so let's put a little color in that spot. There you go. Looking very, very wet. We're gonna make that happen. Okay. Now, let's reveal these. They don't need to dry with the tape on them. I taped these very well, so it's gonna hopefully not be too hard to do this. And, of course, some elements went over the top of the tape. But I think it's very wet. We could just roll it off there, push it up into the, remember this isn't dry, so. Oh, my hands are dirty. Anyway, all kinds of things you could do in making an art card if you wanted to. If you want to trade cards with me, leave me a comment in the description, below, and I will definitely reach out. And yeah, so this is working out. This is kind of cool. I like how this happened. Yeah, I think we could, there's got to be some way to private message through Facebook or some way to send information if you want to trade cards. I think that'd be really fun. Or you don't have to do it with me. You can trade with somebody else. Or I took a little bit of that J off of there with the tape. I didn't anticipate that happening, but no, there it is. All right, there they are. Artists trading cards. Super fun.